look dire, as here we are on to the Rift for the final game of the day.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
We're beelining towards the bot lane here.
Yep, oh dear. Is Dr. going to check it? I hope not.
JDG were able to find a successful level 1 yesterday up against EG. So it seems like that, I mean, knowing again, best of ones, this is a great way to find these advantages and try to pull ahead into wins. But sadly, well, sadly for JDG, maybe not sadly for you guys, DK not gonna fall for it. But again, interestingly enough, you look back to 2020 when Damwon did win Worlds, they were seeded into Group B with JDG. I mean, both things being repeated here.
That's true.
I appreciate you. We need some support after we're 0-2 on the day.
Yeah, and also don't apologize for siding with JDG because we kind of outnumber you as far as, regionally here on this disc this time.
I've already said LP always sacrifices teams at Worlds. Like, we can sacrifice the others. JDG, though, are the one that I cannot sacrifice.
Yeah, no, you want to keep.
Yeah.
And in fact, you probably want to keep all of them.
I mean, yes.
Yeah. I like how EDG also had just like an absolutely phenomenal game last time around, but they're not going to be the ones, as we are going to see a little bit of biffo here towards the bottom side. Dr. and Kellen trying to get a bit on their side. Showmaker pushing in here in the mid lane. So early game, we're looking at Damwon Kia, so much onus on them to make things happen. Of course, Canyon can get ganks done in the early stages, but I think even if they do manage to get a few ganks to work, if Kanavi just hoovers up the jungle and JDG manage to eventually stabilize like they're known to do, it's going to be a real tough one for Damwon Kia.
Yeah, the key thing here for me is how many jungle objectives Damwon can stack. Even saw it counter-picked at times when Renection was a really high priority pick. But when it comes to the first couple of objectives, Damwon needs to get basically a Drake or two and a Herald is, Canyon and Kanavi gonna meet?
Yeah, I think Kanavi was just spotted after he quick drawed over that wall. And Canyon also, vision going to be available on the Maokai, who has his pajamas at the ready. Going to clear out that ward as Kanavi scoops his way over. Showmaker able to get himself out of the way. A little bit early there for Yagao, I think. Showmaker gets himself out, no flash required.
And what we see there as well is an adaptation from Canyon. Didn't go for the pot as, Kanavi.
Canyon lying in wait. The
this is so
stealthiest
smart.
tree.
Just gonna let him walk by. I mean, if he like stayed or started walking towards bot side, you look at Damwon's bot lane, they're the ones pushing, so would be able to punish.
Yeah, gets around the corner. Yagao with the first roam from this mid lane. Threaded volley comes through here from Showmaker just to try and frustrate him as Canyon with one of the boughs of the tree. Going to take down the shellfish here on the bottom side of the map. Now just going to transition up, see whether he can grab two of them for the price of one.
Yeah, Canyon making sure that Showmaker can get in the back here. Showmaker, of course, kind of under pressure after the early movement from Kanavi, and just making sure that his mid laner can safely make his way back to the base. His second crab gonna get picked up. Canyon, of course, did spend a bit of time as a little bit of a cheer for the crab.
I think it's better than ward kills, to be perfectly honest. I think cheering for crab kills, absolutely fine. Huge fan.
Look, because cheering for wards is just so...
It's iconic.
And it's just chaos. It's just like pure joy. Crabs, I mean, crabs are actually in game pretty cool. We saw, NA loving to go for that one for years and getting memed, but...
So you don't like it because crabs actually have value, but wards don't.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I guess wards do have
Well,
value,
I mean, they have a ton of value, but in the immediate context of the game.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, well, I didn't know that about you.
Well, Canyon
is...
did he just stop that back?
He died.
Wow, okay, but Dr. and Kellen also moving up the river. Can they get more? There's the flash boost in advance. Still going to follow you, Kanavi, unfortunately. Quick draw going to be up, but there's another flash here. There's the 1, 2, 3, and Dr. gets first blood.
It's the flash, twisted advance, outplay. Can't get away from that one. Point and click. No problem for Canyon, but the real kicker of the play, of course, the cancel of the back.
Yeah, just great coming out from Canyon. Kanavi spending so much time in bot side river, despite the fact that the DK bot lane has had prio pretty much the whole time. It was also one of the only moments where it looked like Showmaker also did have prio in mid, and we're gonna see here Canyon is able to force him out with the sapling, and then I love it.
And read him like a book there as well. Just knew that he was going to start channeling the back immediately, and already has the bottom lane rotating up.
Great junglers, think alike, Canyon knowing exactly what he'll go for. And then, I mean, Kanavi not flashing instantly. Just that, like, little bit of distance Canyon's able to follow through. And then Duckdom, great flash over the wall to finish it off and get this Varus off to a strong start.
Well, great start here so far, but we already said this before, right? If you're a Damwon fan, don't get too excited just yet, because they're going to need to find even more advantages than just this.
Yeah, there needs to be a sizable lead for Damwon, not just in terms of kills, but they need to actually turn these kills into objectives. Early Infernal Drake, incredibly high value for obvious reasons, but an early Mountain, even an early Cloud, I think can have quite a big impact, as Kellen is going to walk it off. And I've seen Damwon get 10k gold leads and not be able to close out a game this year.
Yeah, I also remember a game like that. Cullen's gonna have to flash here.
But look at
Underneath the
Showmaker.
turret, yeah, Canyon also rotating over. Is the Weaver's Wall up and available? It absolutely
for
is.
people.
In he goes. There is going to be a fantastic Bramble Smash to get missing out of position, but Yagao. Empress Divine missing also. Flashing himself out of the way. Docdom gets 1 kill, but that is not going to be enough to even out this play. JDG moving to the kill lead.
Yagao with the huge Empress Divide, matches the roam timing, scoops up 3, and Hope the big benefactor of the play.
And that was such a good read from JDG, because with the Talia ultimate, I think Damwon thought that they had more time, that they could get the kill on Missing and or Hope before the actual collapse would come through. But as we can see here, look at that. Both Kanavi and Yagao are already in position, and Arel, this early on, especially with Kellen not having any damage and Docdom not being a part of this play, as that scoop comes in, there isn't enough damage.
Yeah, just so clean in as well, like with the angle that Yagao came from, just completely separating the Varus from being able to put out any DPS, or maybe they could have tried to find a little bit more on the JDGs from the JDG side.
Yeah, and it was even worse than that. Docdom just straight up wasn't there. So we were talking about lack of damage, right?
Yeah.
Like in the early game, Docdom has a lot of damage, but he needs to actually be present in order to achieve that damage. So not actually able to get enough to lock down the kill onto Missing. He did eventually go down, but honestly, man, what an amazing opening play here for Yagao on this Azir, and that has really brought JDG right back into contention. Damwon is still going to have some control of the map and are going to be able to take this first Rift Herald, see whether that can get them some semblance of control.
I think overall nice by DK knowing that they have control of this top side. Nuguri has just been pushing in. We can see 20 CS lead up there for himself, so hopefully can use this. I think ideally you'd want to use it in the mid lane since you are going up against the Azir. And heck, it actually looks like he might look for a punish with Yagao not having the flash.
Ooh, and if JDG actually pick up this early Drake, which right now is looking like they are, I think that's a colossal win for them. Because if you look at their composition overall, even disregarding JDG's tendency to find angles in mid to late game team fights, getting an early Drake can buy you so much time down the line when you look for an additional item spike, when you want to hit those later levels, just by the virtue of Damwon not getting soul, as Navi shows bot side.
Into the line going to come through. Does a little bit of damage there to Docdom, but otherwise not going to find too much. As here towards the top side, we're going to check in on the Ornn versus Renekton matchup. Riveting one, in my experience.
Yes.
It's not necessarily so far, like you said, 20 CS advantage. That's the notable part, but it's just going to be pretty much a wet noodle fight, as 369 just going to be weathering the storm until he straight up outscales Nuguri and gives his friends a whole bunch of really cool toys that are worth a heck of a lot of money, and it's very, very cool. Missing going to have to crash his way down out of this lane. Canyon moving in, as we're going to see some more fighting here in the top lane.
Yeah, that's, I think, the ultimate from Duckdom being gone is quite big, as 369.
Yeah, Call of Forge God does come through. Oh, Mate going to come in as well, as 369 decides he's ran out of buttons, doesn't need to worry about that. Magnet Storm here towards the bottom side. All right, Kellen going to get bailed. Oh, there it is, but it's not enough, as Hope is going to punish him immediately. 1-for-1 here in the bottom lane as Yagao once again on the roam. Support his bottom lane.
That was actually a TP coming out from Yagao, so ends up being a 1-for-1, but the fact that DK are able to pull that Summoner, pretty good for them. Showmaker still having the Weaver's Wall as well, so if DK can get into a position where they can set up a play on the spot lane, you now potentially have a world where Yagao isn't able to follow.
And we have seen games for Damwon where Docdom can 1v9 as an AD carry, but usually They're on a Phalios.
Yeah.
And I think as Varus, having the Renata still gives you a lot of leeway, but still, a single misposition when you don't have flash, Yagao scoops you and you're in deep trouble.
And we also have to remember that this is, you know, Kellen's Renata as well. Definitely the best champion of the playoffs. But this was pretty fantastic engage, and Kellen got extremely lucky to be bailed out right at the last second there. And Hope just going to be able to lock him down. So 1 point in the end.
Yeah, but now we're going to come back onto the map. And, you know, we've been hitting a lot on the spot lane because 3-0 and Varus, Doctom huge right now, but Nuguri as well, able to finish his Gore Drinker already. So we're starting to get to the point at this 1 item mark, now even Immortal Shield Bow picked up, where DK are going to be on their power spikes and looking to force a lot of these skirmishes. We already hit on now, no TP for Yagao on one side. We still have Weaver's Wall up on top of things like the Ghost. You can see right now on the mini-map, DK all grouping up around the mid lane.
Well, Yagao could be in a little bit of trouble. Shelly going to pop up, see whether she can collect some plates. Now Kanavi going to get his hand shook. That is not the one that he wants, not the greeting he was looking for anyway, as Shelly is going to be able to get on in there. I believe it was just Canyon that picked up the plate gold, but it's Maokai, the best champion in the universe. And he is going to be able to make good use of it. Now, 2 minutes on this Drake. This bottom side river, not exactly the most valuable, but getting control of movement towards that bottom lane is what Damonkia are looking for.
And with the mountain being the next Drake as well, Showmaker.
Yeah, Emperor's Divide going to come in here. The Showmaker is going to put down some rocks and should be able to dissuade Yagao from chasing after him. And that's exactly what's going to happen.
I thought that was going to be more exciting.
He pressed Ghost.
But it wasn't. Well, he did, yeah, but he was spelled it, so...
Yeah, on the minimap, it did look like Kanavi was starting to make his way up, and, you know, maybe then you could find it. But yeah, it seems like pulling the trigger just a little bit too early, but still a lot of action coming out so far in the side lanes. With Dragon coming up in a minute.
Oh.
369, what are you doing?
Yeah, he's going to find it again here as Call of Forge God comes through. Great knock up, Noguri going to throw it, but he gets hit by the turret and has to flash his way out. Slice and Dice going to be up there, but getting the Summoner spell as the Ornn at this stage of the matchup is certainly very good work for 369.
That's super, super big because, yes, 369 uses ultimate, but they were next to without Flash and Dominus. In the upcoming fight, if JDG do choose to contest, way less scary.
I mean, especially if Nuguri did opt in just going for a reset and then either being in a position where he has to lose his wave or like maybe you TP back and you can't go to the fight. 369 finding that was huge, and a lot of that coming down to just a slight overstep of Nuguri taking that turret shot. I think he would have been fine otherwise. But still, Dragon coming up in 20 seconds. JDG have just finished sweeping out wards on the bottom side, so right now they do have some pretty nice control.
And looking at the item spikes, Damonkia has a composition that ideally is an elite. Showmaker just now finishes his Liandry's, which is very, very big. Also, I'm pretty sure Canyon's going to go for Demonic Embrace based on what we're seeing right now. But overall, JDG is barely behind, thanks to Umbral Glaive being a very cheap item, a lot of kills being available for Hope. And as I say that, it looks like JDG's like, no, we can give it the one Drake, and especially with the early infill they picked up, I think they're fine.
The one game buffer definitely very, very important here, as we are going to get another Hextech Soul. That is another really big one. This, if Damonkia are able to keep control, this is one of those Drakes that can allow you to make up for a comp deficit as far as the late game, but they still have to be able to take all of these Drakes. And as we said before, there is that buffer here for JDG. Could come back to bite Damonkia. Speaking of biting Damonkia, once again, Noguri in a bit of trouble here as he slices, dices, gets himself to relative safety. Remember, no flash available, and there's another great Emperor's Divide. The Dominus is going to be up, but 1 versus 4? No, my money ain't on Noguri, and he is going to fall down there. Canyon offers him some little cats as Shirley up and available here, 14.5 minutes, and Damonkia still thinking about finding more. Voidseek comes forward there from Hope. Going to be answered by the piercing
teleport.
Over the wall goes Kanavi. Flash out from Doctom. Has to heal as well. It's missing. Not going to be able to find his way in here once again. A phenomenal goal of the Forge God. But it's going to be a great hold out from Kellen as well as diving on forward. Is Canyon gets himself out of the way. Health bars are so extremely low at Showmaker. He still has the stopwatch. In goes Canyon again. The Bramble. What is this? This champion's busted, but not busted enough to take JDG as Noguri is going to turn up. There could be 6 dumb-on deaths in this fight, but Kellen not going to fall, and Noguri not going to find any prey this time.
That team fight was honestly just absolutely crazy. I'm speechless at how back and forth it was. JDG wanting to pull the trigger because they have man advantage with the TP, but Damwon keep fighting back and actually even end up ahead with this turret coming out from it. But I just want to start off by highlighting the TP coming in. JDG really want to force this one out, but once DK blow the initial summoners and the Unraveled Earth comes out, it looks like a really hard play to force.
And then, as Hope goes in, it looks good initially, but Kellen coming through with the ultimate, able to buy so much space, and then this is where it gets crazy, because already it looks like Domonkey has one, then Yagao goes in, looking for a hero play again, he flashes the Twisted Advance, and then Canyon just is able to stay alive for a little bit longer because of the bailout.
And the thing is, JDG had the highest champion kills per minute in the LPL. They were our most bloody team. Even in a situation like this, we're like, hey, they can outscale, they can play to chill. They are Nuggery, yeah. Not able to find the impact he hoped for.
Everyone else is nice and relatively... Sure, Canyon does a little more, but come on, Nuggery.
He took mid lane turret.
I mean, what Nuggery did was one cull the Meek and died, and then the team fight happened. It's not very fair that they even put that number in there, to be honest.
Well, he tried at the end, Atlas. He was there for round 2, but no one else
Yeah,
was.
no, exactly. He asked everyone, and they were like, we're tired. Nuggery, you're a bit late.
They all said they were going to come to the party, you know, and Nuggery shows up in his fresh clothes and no one's there.
He's got his salt and vinegar chips. He's coming in there. And
he's ready.
Nuggery, it's 3 a.m. What are you doing?
Please leave.
Yeah. Well, 369 here towards the bottom side now. Things a little bit upside down as far as the top lane matchup. 369 just really feeling like he's turned this one around. And I wouldn't hesitate to believe him. As even after the Bramble Vest comes in, that's when you really start to feel good as the On in this matchup, and definitely demonstrating that he absolutely does.
I will also say, though, I mean, looking for the side of DK, right? They were able to pick up the Herald off of that. Demonic Embrace did come through, so for the side of DK, there really isn't much of a front line. You're really just all inning on burst and the damage able to come through, which I feel like sets up even more so for them to like find picks, try and just supplement this advantage that they're hoping to find, again, at this stage in the game.
And I do think that as much as I favor the JDG composition overall in terms of execution, if you misstep against champions like Talia, like Maokai, and like the Renata specifically, everyone outside of Yagao actually is fairly limited in terms of range. And JDG, I think, is always going to be a team that is going to hit that kind of skill floor that you need to be this tall to ride the ride. But if they do make a mistake in the mid game, give up a shutdown on someone like Hope and give over a Baron, I think that could possibly break open the game for Damwon. And I know that the goal's even, but with the drops the way they are, that's kind of how it feels.
Yeah, it does feel like the onus is on Domonkey to make the moves, but I like that you bring up the fact that if JDG do mess up with the moves that they're making, it's not necessarily going to work as smoothly as you may otherwise think, especially with absolutely zero separating these two teams here as we crest the 19-minute mark. JDG moving on over 9 seconds on this first Hextech Drake. Domonkey not wanting to give this one up as they throw down the Rift Herald as well to be a nuisance as they look to get control of this bottom side river. JDG staying together as a team. Showmaker off to the side, checking all the flanks where they can. Nuggery just being frustrating as he's going to now also move into Fog of War, try and stop JDG from being able to secure this. Damwon together now, Nuggery on the flank. JDG gonna have to pull the trigger here because Shirley's also doing some work. Canyon gonna steal this one away. And Damwon, I mean, yeah, Nuggery pressed the Dominus button, but you can just back away now. It's all gone your way.
I feel like JDG had to be way more decisive about that fight. Like you just said, on Shelly was put down. At that moment, I feel like you either force the Drake or you decide to back off and stop the push.
Especially with the tools they have. Missing, Flash, Magnet Storm available. JDG can even go for a non-committal engage. Just throw out that Ornhorn. Because I do think that giving Damwon time with his composition can actually backfire. Showmaker, even though he hasn't had the biggest impact, quite fed right now. Add to that Canyon with this build actually does do a lot of damage with the saplings. You might run into some issues if you are a little bit too slow on the trigger.
Exactly. I feel like Damwon's comp, even though we're kind of hitting on scaling for JDG, is like an AoE death ball, right? If all of JDG are grouped up, it's like Maokai ult, into Kellen's ult coming out, the AoE damage from Talia, arrows just being sprung at you from Duckdom. So definitely JDG gonna have to be careful, but they're not being careful right now as Kanavi wanting to try to force something, but all of DK are here.
Oh boy!
9 getting the Hex Tech flank on here. Teleport to come forward from Yagao, and Damonkia, they are in a dicey position. All right, the tree's going to be able to flash to get himself out of the way, and that is going to be a rare miss from 369, especially this game. Damonkia safely out of there, but not going to find anyone on the retreat.
Still, for JDG, I mean, TP match for TP coming out from Yagao is DK now wanting to turn. I mean, both of these engages just looking so forced coming out from both sides, wanting to find some kind of avenue available when they feel like the other team has overstepped. But JDG with first turn on mid at least might get something out of this.
Yeah, we'll see, as that is going to be the flick back onto Kanavi immediately. He flashes to get himself out of the way, and once again, it's another great escape. We are just trading these back and forth. Everything's being defended.
No committal. We're only gonna make it look exciting.
I
We're
mean,
never actually gonna do anything.
They're trying to commit.
No action.
They're committing, and then when you commit and the other one runs away, I mean, it's not your fault. They're still committing.
Yeah, TPing into the enemy jungle. What else could they do? But then they commit, and then you run away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, it's a counter commit.
So nothing happens.
Yeah, but if they're committing, you're like, well, no.
I'm not feeling like that.
No. We're the ones that are committing.
369 just, dashed in, committed, and, now he's flash and he commits away.
Committal was a mistake.
Committed the flash, absolutely. And that was what I was going to say. And it would have been a bit on the nose, so thanks, guys. You saved me from that one. As 369 also going to escape. That is how this one works.
You still said it.
No, of course.
Do that to yourself, Atlas.
That's what I do. It's the shtick. Showmaker will be able to take the turret, so here we go.
Still
there
trading on both sides.
And that's true. Never mind.
Even when we get past this Yagao, they actually might be able to find this on a Canyon.
Yeah, Canyon in a bit of trouble here, taking a lot of damage. Hope with that Canyon Rain making it work. That is the tree falling down.
And this is a problem that Canyon has had all year long, has been getting caught out in crucial positions. Looks like JDG at the very least gonna get a favorable trade, get themselves a free kill, and pick up a mid lane turret, kind of opening up the map and making it harder for Domon to move around.
Yeah, and it's going to be one of those things now. I mean, again, nearing closer to Dragon, JDG having some nice vision set up on bot side. With the resets needing to come out after them pushing down bot lane turret, finding that kill and needing to start picking up items, I wouldn't be surprised if JDG want to start posturing towards mid and again just keeping their hold over bot lane there. For the side of DK though, it seems like they still have the tools to try to find fights if they want to. Cannon as well finally just picked up his mythic and now does have a bit of a tankiness behind him to support that way.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yep. He has the rest of his team there as well. It's going to be a better situation. And so just going to have to keep up with the diligence when it comes to understanding information that you have at your disposal and not putting yourself at risk. Okay, Weaver's Wall to come through yet again from Showmaker. They don't manage to get 369 over that wall as the Berserk's fantastic. Kanavi's going to get pushed to his doom, missing off to the side. It's actually going to get checked here by Nogari. 369's going to go down. It's a double kill for Showmaker. What timing as well? There's 30 seconds on the break, but Damonkia have Baron in their sight.
Exactly, they can just turn on this one so easily. JDG do have some damage up, but I feel like DK are in such a good position.
They're gonna make their way over to Baron.
Yeah, looks like they're gonna give this one up. I mean, there's no smite available here on JDG's side. Damonkia with the man advantage, couple of members available, and they don't even seem to mind about the fact that they're just leaving this Drake because they can use this Baron now to get an insurmountable map lead.
And we saw there, Showmaker, he's the one that's been looking for the angles. Looks like this Drake gonna get given over, but Damonkia, they're running in.
I absolutely told a lie. They are 100% fighting for this one. Nogari secures Soul Point, but can they actually win the fight is the question. Nogari says no, and Canyon says, well, I guess I'll leave. The Kitty Cat Brambles do come forward. He decides that he wants to engage, and he realizes actually just had no way out. I mean, so therefore you may as well go in.
JDG find 2 kills, but Damon just got a Baron. They're on Soul Point. I feel like they're in such a good position. Gold might still be even, but it feels like the tools are there once these members are up to try and force. JDG can try and make something happen with man advantage, but there's really nothing they can do against this Baron.
And Canyon going in here, finding the smite, absolutely huge. The one downside, of course, is that with Kalin, as far behind as he is, with the Hextech timer, I don't think Canyon ever gets out. The fact that Nogari also is drawing attention, nice to create space for Canyon, but also means that he will end up going down. The upside, of course, for Damwon is there is no Baron because they got Baron.
Yeah.
So even with jungler and top down, there isn't really a counter punch for JDG.
And that's what's been happening this whole time. It's been equal counter punches over and over again. Unfortunately for JDG, this time they do manage to achieve the same counter play, but there isn't sort of the counter takeaway to be taken this time. And even though the gold is extraordinarily even,
So,
I mean,
it's a lot of layers.
Yeah, there is a lot of layers. This game is an onion. We'll see whether this Rebel Baron power play is going to get above that like 250 mark, which we're seeing it sit at right now. Because the gold is still extraordinarily even, has been this entire time around. And with the fact that Canyon and Noguri went down there, it does mean that that Baron power play that you were talking about not going to be available because JDG took control of the wave.
Surprisingly enough, Damwon actually going to opt into trading sides. They have Duckdom pushing in the bot lane. He might be able to get this turret to find at least something for DK as JDG try to prevent it, but still JDG just having too much combat power right now, and we might be very close to another fight.
Yeah, everyone's coming on in here is all right. Kellen, can he survive? The answer is yes, but he has to use the flash, takes the blast cone to safety as well. As Canyon, if he stole the blue buff with that, I would have written a formal complaint. Because he's been stealing away too many things so far this game. Damwon here, 2.5 minutes on this Hextech Drake. So not so much to fight for, but Noguri moving up there towards that top side, and he doesn't have a Baron, but does certainly have some damage if left alone.
And even though this is a very underwhelming Baron power play, will be a little bit better with Damwon finally getting this turret inside. But the key thing, as you pointed out, Lyric, is that that Drake was taken. And getting a Hextech Drake with a Talia and a Fetz Varus, I think can really turn the tables in terms of how we look at these two teams fighting against one another in the later stages of the game. If Yagao and Hope are basically, or rather 369 and Miss, are forced to immediately engage no matter the situation because of the poke that comes through, and they do it into a Kellen ultimate, that can be a big problem.
I also think another thing it sets up right is an earlier Elder Drake coming through if DK are able to pick up Soul, which then will put them in a point where it's like, hey, we're not getting to this fight when JDG has an Azir on like 5 items, more Ornn items coming out, and then potentially if DK can win a fight then, it's like, cool, you have Elder, you just push on through, you can end the game. But I mean, we've seen, right, JDG are very willing to force and fight into DK, so I wonder if we get that far.
Yeah, there's a Weaver's Wall. Is going to be able to blast cone his way over it. The flick not going to connect there. He's just looking to walk this one out. All right, the Cats are going to march on down, but not going to be too much to get out of it. And in fact, the ults out of Canyon haven't necessarily done much.
But still, I mean, Kanavi's flash just came up. Let's remember the fight that DK won in mid was because Kanavi had no flash when that engage came through. JDG answered back on mid, but I think if DK can keep finding these summoners, I mean, their composition has so much CC to punish.
Like the setup here from JDG, take control of the bot side jungle, but they are going to have to look for a back. So I think for Damwon there is an opportunity here if they do want to go in. Of course, with saplings, it becomes so much harder to maintain a tight control of the jungle, and got a feeling it might all come down to this up-and-coming fight, because even though the timer for the Hextech Drake is only 40 seconds, if there's a little bit of slowdown, the Baron is going to come up. So whoever wins the next fight, if it's decisively enough, can also turn it into a Baron.
Yeah, and we look at summoners on both sides, right? Kellen doesn't have his, so that's a point of punishment. We just highlighted Kanavi, though, on the side of JDG. And Hope wasn't able to finish off his IE. He just backed and picked up the components for it. But still not there is Igao.
Yeah, okay, just going to be Hextech gating around. They're looking to try and lock down Noguri. There's the flash forward from missing. The rest of Damwon are going to turn up. The Brambles are going to be there. Noguri flashes, not able to escape that one. But is the same going to be true for 369? And yes, it is. Once again, the amount of evenness in this game is just comical.
It's just crazy. I really don't know what's going on. JDG trying to force their way into the bot side for Nuggery. It just happens to be the time DK are walking through.
But overall, I think it's JDG that's favored because both Doctor and Kellen weren't able to find our ultimates.
Yeah,
4 versus 4.
He's managed to find Canyon here, missing over the wall. He could be the big one. That is a phenomenal interruption. Not able to steal that dragon away. And Canyon will be taken down. This could be the advantage that JDG need to secure that Baron.
Exactly, it's at the perfect timing. Baron just about to come up on the map.
Oh, unless this flick happens, Handshake's pretty good, but missing has the best item in the game, as Brennan Valdez would say, in the stopwatch, and does avoid death.
Nagori does have teleport available though, so does 369, so gotta imagine Damonkia or nothing here.
Teleport, 5 members alive here for JDG. The Baron going down extraordinarily quickly. They're not able to secure it. It's not going to be smoked, but still, it is there for JDG, and now 369 not able to find that one. Doctor trying to kite him out. JDG not getting the fight, but they got the Baron, and that's the main thing.
So close to actual kills, but in the end, as you're saying, JDG is the one that gets the big wins. Get the Baron, get themselves the Drake, as Kanavi throws out an ultimate.
Look, Call of the Forge God almost up for 369. I feel like this is why JDG are still posturing around.
Canyon's back.
Yeah, Canyon is going to be here, but no Chains of Corruption now for Doctor. A lot of Summoner spells blown in those exchanges as well. And finally, we have an almost relevant gold gap between these two teams. It's probably made up for by the fact that there is, you know, Hex Drakes and things like this, but the Baron's certainly going to be helping JDG for now.
Yeah, there's also Ornn.
Yeah, that's true.
And generally, when one team has Ornn and the other doesn't, it doesn't make the equation
it's
easier.
all of those cool toys that he gives.
Yeah, and he's been giving out a lot.
Yeah, I also want to highlight as well, the IE actually finally is finished up for Hope, so he's incredibly large right now. And even though a ton of summoners were burned on both sides, look at JDG's 2 carries. Yagao and Hope still both having their flash up, so they feel, looks like they're feeling incredibly feisty to try and find some kills.
And as Hope gets stronger with this build for Dogdom, it's very, very strong on the 2 and 3 spike, but it doesn't scale nearly as well as full damage into the later stages of the game. And I'm wondering if, even with a possible Lord Dominik's, if that's going to be enough for him to actually get through the front line that JDG has available. And I think Damonkia's comp might be on the verge of running out.
Yeah, this is the thing. We already spoke about the fact that there was sort of an expiry date, but Damonkia are going to try and ignore it here as the Ornn comes through from 369, then makes his way out with the Searing Charge. Canyon once again throwing out an ultimate that's a little bit optimistic. JDG not going to get caught out by anything at this stage. Relatively successful defense of this inner turret at this stage, however.
That was
Triple
45
Baron
though.
power play, 2.6k at this point in time, the biggest so far of the game. Yagao sets up the Sun Disc in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think JDG, very smart, having Yagao push that whole time. It now opens up for JDG to take bot turret as they pulled some pressure from bot side, as DK having to answer back in mid.
And it looks like with that Drake not going the way of Damonkia, with JDG now picking up a almost 4,000 Red Bull Baron power play, I don't know, unless we see another misstep, right? Kanavi going too far forward, someone getting caught in a play from Showmaker, or off too far in the side. But at this point, I feel like JDG should be in a prime position to just slowly and carefully close this game out.
And this is why I said, like, being a supporter of JDG, being an adrenaline junkie, or I guess an anxiety junkie as well, because you always have a feeling they're gonna win the game. They're gonna bring you on a ride for them to get there.
Lyric, I remember earlier today, you mentioned top esports, knack for finding defeat where there is only victory. How's that for JDG?
I think it's the exact opposite.
I agree.
That was in the lesson that he had before.
I feel like JDG,
well, that was the
team
joke!
where it looks like they shouldn't win and then somehow do it is Atlas.
I was expecting better from you, Atlas.
It was on my test. And that was my
What
test from
happened-
earlier. I
what
thought
happened
this
to
was the
high
exam.
five? We matched your hair.
Well, you guys passed your test as well.
Aw.
Thank you.
Time to see if DK can pass their test, which is surviving the onslaught of JDG. Luckily for them, a ton of wave clear coming out between both Varus and Talia.
Yeah, and also the fact that they don't have very much range. Chronicle, you mentioned that earlier on as well with the Kai'Sa. Siege is not necessarily something that you can do, and line wave clear is a term that we invented based on Varus, I think. Because he does manage to kill them while they're conquering it.
I see the angle.
Uh-huh.
For Dogdom, we go to 50 minutes. Hold on, thought that game might end very, very soon.
Canyon's taking a lot of damage. Yagao is just huge at this point in time. Okay, ulti comes through,
Oh.
and in goes Hope, but Twisted Advance, he is going to be there. He has to flash immediately, and Showmaker just says no! It is available! All right. was. I thought the 369 had the coolest escape.
Hope! It almost looked like he threw it away, but the Hex
Wait.
coming in clutch.
But do they get Drake off of this? Do they get Soul?
I think they do.
I mean, Hope has Hextech gates. They got him out. Maybe they can get him back in.
Yeah, well, looks like he's going to try for it now as he's going to make his way out of the base.
Make it.
Yeah, this Drake is up and available. Damwon Kia are together. The Phalanx has been put up.
But look, DK, so many ults not available. They're very close, but that's why they're not able to just outright force this right now.
Yep, Kanavi on the flank here as well. Voidseeker is going to find Canyon, who's below half health. Decent defensive play here from Damwon, but that's not what they need. They need to try and find a way to stop JDG from denying this from them. All right, Searing Charge going to be there, but 369 still feeling like he needs to invest the flash. Ulti not going to find any joy at all here for Canyon. And there goes 369 now. The flick's fantastic. Another Searing Charge going to be there, but he's denied by locked on that kill as well. The Rel's going to be taken, and Noguri still up and alive. They dive forward. Oh my god, the AoE is just absurd. And there is no hope for Damwon Kia.
JDG pulling it back. After DK were able to find a couple kills for themselves, they have a wave in bot side. They're going to look for the push.
And what a banger to end the day. In the end, it comes down to a smite 50-50. A fight that first looks one for JDG, then for Damwon, and then JDG again.
This is definitely the best game we've had so far today. Back and forth does not do this justice whatsoever. And JDG, the